the rest of the messages about it tonight to those who I want to invite.
Yay!
No.
Okay, so
Dan should be in town today.
we are officially live, just so everybody
Hello.
knows.
I'm not paying attention. I'm eating food right now.
Yep. One of us does not have a camera
Starting
today,
stream
but
over here.
that's funny. I need to minimize that. All right, there we go.
Welcome 0 viewers to our stream over here on Twitch. Hopefully some of you will pop in.
All right.
And want to welcome you to other viewers that are on Discord right now.
Oh, you got everybody up too. Yeah. Anyways, with that being said, let's go ahead and talk PVE because I have yet to show you guys the cards, although I have some of the cards here. We're going to go over it. This is a really big, basic, rough draft. I've got a lot of the cards put together. I've got a lot of artwork for all of the cards. I'm working on the forest stuff now, although I'm going to try to get these cards finished and up and running for the rest of you guys so that you guys, both of you on Discord and everyone else that is watching, can officially start giving us some playback feedback and we can all kind of build this together because, like I said, I want it to be a lot of fun.
Yay.
Let me just do a double check on my phone to make sure that all of my sound's coming through, and then we'll be good to go 100%. So if you guys have anything you want to say, go for it. Now's the time.
Bibbles.
Come join us here. And go ahead and comment in the comment section. We'd love to know what your thoughts are.
You don't want to know my thoughts.
No, that's why we have you straight to speaker. There's no editing on a keyboard. We're in trouble.
Well, that ruins all the fun of it now, don't it?
Alrighty. So I hope that we can, go through this. So let's go ahead and dive into it. Anything that you guys have question-wise before we dive into this full throttle?
Nothing on my end.
All right. So I want to go over, before we go over cards, a way that the game is initially going to play out and hopefully a couple of the rules overall variants of the game. So the game's going to consist of 3 attacking players, the way that I have it set up currently. And we could go to 4, but we're going to work with 3 for right now because I feel like that's a good party size for this type of game. 3 players that will be attacking the environment. There will actually be a 4th person who is controlling that environment, similar to, never can remember what it's called, archenemy, right?
Yes.
Okay, except the difference between archenemy and I would say this system will be is the archenemy's deck is specifically tailored totally different than any other deck. So they have their decks, and then the archenemy deck is literally, if you said that this was a fully published Flesh and Blood product, would be its own specific deck. That wouldn't have cards that could go in Flesh and Blood decks. It would literally be its own deck style. Everybody on the same page?
Yep. So far, so good.
Comments, thoughts? No thoughts? Rattling around?
No thoughts.
All right.
No. Because I was distracted and I wasn't paying attention. What did you say?
Where's my machete? I need to remove a finger.
Hold on. Let me get mine.
Okay, anyways, with that being said, you'll have your own deck for the environment. Okay, put that away. No, put that. Put it down. Put it down. Put it down.
Nate?
I can't
down.
see it.
No, put
I
it.
turn it sideways, then we'll get banned.
Just put it down.
Look how sharp that is.
Will you just put it down?
Thank you. Now leave it down. Anyways, with that being said, you'll have your own specific system that will function in the realm of basically we have to have a DM. And that's one of the things that I've made it so that we have to do is that you're going to have someone that controls this. It's the only way that I can find in the playtesting that I've done so far to not make it so that it's breakable. Which means we know what's in the decks, we know how the decks are going to function, it's breakable. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say I like that, and there might actually be something that we can do for like the DMs to be like, hey, if you're able to like do some kind of like fun role playing aspect for the game, you can get like some kind of special prize for the DMs as well, potentially.
Right. So I will have to figure all of that out in down the line for sure, and I do want to do something for that as well. But I want to get to the point where people want to be the DM because of how much fun this is going to be, but not everyone's going to be what I would call our true DMs. Because I told you both that our true DMs will have a set of secret rules. Now, what I mean by that is if you look through the cards here, and I'm going to thumb through them real fast.
Yeah.
So we have the blacksmith, we had the knight. Most of the artwork that I went and got is all human based. One of the friends that has been helping me has tried to get other races and stuff involved, which I like because it's more D&D themed. But I have poorly enough not been good enough at doing that. So some of this will be mainly humans, but there are other things here. This is going to be what our attack action card will look like. Very similar to the flesh and blood things. We have our attacking, we have our defense, we have our resource cost and how much a card will pitch for. Don't know what cards are going to pitch for yet, but they will be there. This card is called Flip the Table. It's going to be a defense reaction card. I don't know what it's going to do, but it will help everyone on my side of the board state as a DM. That's the way that it's going to work. We have the barmaid. I have several barmaids, by the way, but we have the barmaid.
Hey.
What's her name?
I haven't named them all yet. I have to do that. It's a lot of work. I have like 35 cards here I've been in the process of art, designing, and getting things for. I have a chef card. This is a cook. He'll be named a cook. He'll have a name. This is one of two cards. If both cooks, which are called the brothers, they will be brother 1 and then brother 2, whatever their names are.
And Crom.
Yeah. We have our, sneaky saboteur, which is, I love it.
Tina.
Our sneaky.
Colada.
We have our pickpocket, our acrobatic, and a lot of these will have different kind of scenarios. We have our drunken farmer, because you got to have those in a tavern brawl, in my opinion. We have our rowdy bard. We have our drunken noble, and if you guys want to pause, you can read the effects. I'll let you get through that. Some of these effects are going to need to be tweaked because I don't want them to all be discard effects, but it's easier to do discard effects right now to affect the other players.
Yeah, let me read it real quick.
No, this one's not a discard. This one's a meme effect.
Interesting. Okay, anybody want to read it out loud?
At the start of controller's turn, aka the DMs.
Yeah, let the dyslexic read.
Oh.
Did you cite?
What?
Well, I mean, we're going for the full meme, so why not?
Oh, you're
At the start of the controller's turn, the fermented financier gains 1 intelligence for each surviving tavern brawl character. When defeated, the heroes create a Zen state tokens?
Yep, Zen state tokens, which
Okay.
basically help them out.
To the number of intellect he has.
Yep. So he gets a crap ton of intellect for everybody that's on the field, but when he's dead, everybody gets a bunch of blocking tokens. So it's like, kill him immediately, but don't kill him immediately. So, and another thing is that
15 toughness?
Yeah, 15 health. Some of them don't have a lot of health, yeah.
Yeah, he has nothing.
So this will be another attack card for the Tavern Brawl
Drinking
system.
games.
Yeah, things like that. This one's going to be called Take Cover. All of the ale in flight at him. Also another defense reaction card that will allow them to block for other people. This one's going to be something about behind the bar or rout the bar or something like that. Probably an attack card of some sort.
Loot the bar.
Yeah, loot the bar, all different stuff like that. And then our favorite card, which I have the name for and I haven't put it in, but it's called Barmaid's Kiss. This is a really fun card. One, because
she blew it at me. She gave me the kiss.
And that's kind of the fun thing is we wanted to make this card be in every value of pitch, which means it'll be red, yellow, and blue, and every pitch value will have a different text box for flavor text that will make an entire scenario, in essence, that will be a really fun little thing to put together for players. Barmaid's Kiss will have an ability that if a barmaid plays Barmaid's Kiss, all players on the battlefield, PvE and non-PvE combatants, will all heal for 3 health. If it's not played by a barmaid, then only the person that plays it gets 3 health. But if a barmaid plays it, everybody gets health because they're fighting over who got the love.
Yeah, no, it was mine.
No, it was mine.
No, she blew me the kiss.
No, it was mine.
No, she wasn't even looking your way. She clearly gave me eye contact.
This card is going to be called Unexpected Chair. Then we have a Great Feast, which will have a bonus effect if a cook plays it. Then we have one of our barkeeps.
Bruce.
We have another barmaid.
Anna.
We have another cook. Lovely card. I loved the artwork on this one.
It kind of looks like you hire.
Yeah, pretty much. We have another barkeep. Now, not all of these cards will be in the tavern system for you guys. They will be in parts of different tavern systems. This is just the overall thrown together tavern stuff that I have so far, and it will probably continue to grow. But this probably will make up about consistency of 3 different types of bar decks that will exist. And what I mean by that is every deck will come with a certain set of people, which means a chef deck will be mainly a chef event where there's a lot more chefs in the deck. So basically every chef that's in the deck will go into that event along with more of the chef affecting cards and like behind the bar cards. This is one of the barkeeps, so he would go into like a different deck where maybe it's more barmaid based. This is a whole scenario that the way this system will function, to explain this a lot better for both of you and everyone else, is there will be 2 decks that the PvE controller has. One is a combat deck, and one is his, basically, hand, the deck that he draws all of his abilities from. His combat deck is all of the people that get flipped off the deck and onto the field as people are defeated. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So the PvE system will work slightly different than all the other systems, but every system will work similar off of this. Basically, in the PvE system, all combat people that you will encounter are at the deck at the same time and shuffled in and then hit the battlefield. That is then flipped off and 3 players are put on the field, and then you begin the encounter. We can, depending on what encounter you're doing, they can go first, you can go first, or it can be a roll of dice depending on what the encounter is. Certain encounters will have us go first, certain encounters will have them go first, etc., etc., etc. Any questions so far?
Seems straightforward to me.
Okay, so you will flip 3 people off of the Tavern Brawl deck, will hit the battlefield, then one of the other 2 people will go first. At the end of round 1 of the controller's turn, he will add another player onto the stack until he has a total of 5 people on the stack for the bar event, which means we get to attack with 5 people in the bar event. This will be only one of the few events where you will have this many people attacking against the 3 players. It's one of the few events that will have a stack that will continue to stay big, which means a lot more of our specialty events should trigger, a lot more of our secret events should trigger, and etc., etc. So,
Cool.
the other systems will function much the same way, where what will happen is there will be encounters that will be laid out in front of everyone, which will be numbered, and they can pick or roll a dice, and then that's the encounter that pops up first, which means you could fight the boss first, you could fight the boss last. The reason I like this type of scenario, and since you challenged me to do this, the reason I like this type of scenario is because of this right here, and I want both of your opinions on it. It makes sure that every single time the encounters land differently, and that A boss fight might hit you early on and whittle down your resources, or you might hit the boss fight at the end and go, crap, I don't have enough resources to deal with him. Which means every encounter is special.
I like that.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
What do you feel about that, Jones?
Sorry, I just realized that it wasn't catching your guys' voice on my end.
Oh, that's fine. I mean, that's not fine, but that's fine.
You can do like random rolls.
Well, right, and
in Magic, you choose between 1 or 3 at random sometimes, depending on what it is, or it's heads or tails, right?
Right. So you could have it where if it's, I mean, we could do a bunch of different stuff, but the reason that I wanted to do it this way is there will be a set number of encounters per certain scenario. So for like Into a Forest scenario, we may have 5 to 7 encounters. Into a bandit's camp, maybe 7 encounters, and the boss encounters may not get added until they have so many things. Also, sometimes pushing the boss encounter to later or pushing the boss encounter a little earlier up. This makes it so that every encounter is unique. Yes, some encounters will hit the same, but if a certain encounter hits you at the wrong time and you're not prepared for it, it could devastate you winning that entire scenario. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
In the system, also as a whole, if you get into a tavern brawl and lose, if we're talking D&D themed, there is no loss. There is just not a victory status in this case. In a forest or in any of the other PvE systems, if you were doing like a dungeon crawl scenario where you keep beating the next one and the next one and the next one, if you were to lose at certain scenarios, there would either be deaths where you would end your campaign or problems, like if it was defend the caravan or protect the caravan, and you laid out all your scenarios, and each time you had a scenario, and let's say that we give the 3 players something they have to protect, like a caravan, and if it dies, then they lose the technical thing, but they don't die themselves, then there could be penalties dished out for the players for not succeeding that scenario. So not every scenario would be life and death. Some would have repercussions for failing, just like in D&D, but not dying, just like in D&D.
Yeah.
So you don't always feel like you're
a success or fail effect at the end of the encounter.
Right.
And those would be different for different decks and for different power levels scale.
Right, and there are some decks that are, if you lose, you lose. Like, it's game over. So there are some success and fail counters, and then there would be some that, like, you either win or retreat or die. One of the two.
Yeah.
I would almost say that there is a retreat status in this system, the way that we're going to build it, or flesh it out the rest of the way as we continue. And the reason that I want that to happen is because I want there to be a possibility to, realize that you're underpowered for what you're getting yourself into.
I like that.
Any questions so far? As I'll flip to the next card so you guys can see some of them.
What if, because it does seem like there's a lot of characters.
That's in purpose for this specific event, yes. And the reason for that is because for the bar tavern system, you don't walk into a bar and see the same people every time. It's not going to happen. So there would be some barmaids in every single bar or tavern event. There may be one of the lower cooks. Maybe during certain cook events, there's all the cooks. Like, in this scenario, there's a lot of different cards, yes. And for the forest event, we will get a lot of different cards. Because we're going to have trolls, we're going to have goblins, we're going to have owl bears, things like that. Now, I would eventually want to tailor some of this to fit in the realm of fab, which is actually, things from their world, monsters from their world, things like that. But as of right now, as a test run, this is really what we're doing just to see how well it functions overall and hopefully get really people into what we're doing and wanting to help out as the community. And,
what I'm thinking,
yeah,
specifically based on, you're saying there's a bunch of characters, you can shuffle them in and out. Why not do a separate deck of characters and shuffle in cards that say reveal off of the character deck until, or flip the next card, adding like people coming in.
And in essence, you're going to be doing that to a degree because you're going to have certain. So I want people to be able to take these decks and shuffle up or create their own Tavern Brawl decks through it, so that someone can make their own unique kind of event scenario as well. And in essence, there's a certain number of cards that go in the battle deck that
Right.
you put those people in, at least for this specific tavern event, and they all get shuffled up, and then they just get flipped off randomly from the top of the deck. Not all of these people would be in every single tavern event. Sometimes it would be, just the Sly Gambler and a couple other people, or, it's not going to be every single one of these people. These are just all the people that I've put together so far for the tavern events that we will create. At the moment, I think I only have 2, 4, 6, 8, 20 to 15 people in a deck right now, and there's duplicates. So, like, there's.
Well, how big do you want the decks to be?
That'll also be. That's where the problem comes in, and playtesting needs to be done by more than just me. I'm finding in between 15 to 20 is where they need to be at, but you're going to have multiple drunken knights. You're going to have multiple drunken farmers, maybe one bard, one acrobat, one entertainer for some decks. It's feeling about 20 cards for the Tavern Brawl deck to be a actual challenge. Now, the problem that I'm also running into is I don't know if I need to up health to keep them in the fight longer so they don't just get knocked out. I don't know if I need to change the abilities to be a little bit more impactful on the players so that maybe the 15 or 20 is enough, and little things like that. Like I said, I've only been able to do what I can do on my end with one person because you guys haven't been available because, you've been in Florida and he's got his own things to do. So it really needs a little bit more play testing by community, which is one reason I'm showing the cards off.
I have a few other ideas, but Eric, what are some of your thoughts? You sound pretty quiet over there.
I'm intrigued by all of this. The way that I learn best, and I've helped several people develop a lot of new games for them, is I need to be able to actually play test it, because I can then break the game and figure out where I broke it, how I broke it, and why it broke, to figure out what flaws need to be fixed, and then I just do a process of like testing over and over again with different parameters. All right, we'll do everything else the same, but we reduce the deck number by 5, or we do everything else the same, except this person won't have this particular one effect, or it'll be changed to be a little less broken, things like that. So I'm liking where all of this is going, but I would need to
Sit and play.
be able to. Yeah, exactly.
Yep. And that's why
That's where a lot's going to come from.
And that's one of the reasons that I wanted to like show you guys the cards, kind of go over things, see what the community says, see what the community goes, or those abilities need to be tweaked, or those abilities need to be fixed. So it's a really interesting thing across the board of how everything is working so far. Like I said, I've created a lot of cards because I need a lot of cards, because I need people to fill everything out. I have some other cards that are like, this card is meant to be a tavern card and also not a tavern card, so it could go in other places too. It's just called it's going to be called the young lookout, or the novice lookout, where he can be put into another type of deck as well rather than just a tavern deck. So
I like that.
I'm trying to make it so that not all cards have to be in the Tavern Brawl deck that are in here, but for the most part, a lot of them, will be or can be or are going to be in some way. Like this card may not be in it. This is going to be like a kind of a rogue type card where it's in the Tavern deck because it's a bunch of shady individuals, and I have shady individuals that don't have to
love
go in
the
deck.
shady individuals to have a flip side.
That's also a possibility. Like I said, this is all things that I'd love to get into, in the sense of playing with people and getting into the point of people playtesting and giving ideas of what the flip side could be.
Well, this would be my idea. you can ditch cards or pay resources to flip a shady individual to its other side, or flip it upwards, right?
Uh-huh.
To reveal what it is and take a chance. Either it would be good or bad. Or you can just take it out and take the effect that's on the front side of the card.
Because one of the things that I would like to do it would be a card called the Big Bad Ugly, which means you flip the shady individual, and it's like the boss just wanted to go out for a drink and just chill on the town, and you picked a fight with him.
He's been working really hard. He's been, controlling his minions, micromanaging, getting everything prepared, and he just needed a break.
Exactly, and you decided to piss him off. Yeah, he has 48 health, and no, you're not going to win this fight. Things like that. I love that, and I love the fact that you're mentioning that. And then one of the things that I would do is, like, if this was a shady individual, not all shady individuals with this artwork would have the same back, specifically to incur the fact that we can go, oh, I know what that shady individual is, I'm not going to mess with it. No. We're not going to do that. I don't want people to be like, I know what that shady individual is, so I'm not going to flip it. I don't want people to be able to look at this specific card and be able to go, I know what the back is. I don't want to do that. I would be random. There'd be like 5 different shady individuals with all of this tying, and then same with the other shady individuals,
What you would do, you can have all the different ones with the different colors, right?
Right.
And each one is different on the other side.
And that's what I mean, is I would want to make it so that, yeah.
So you can have 3 blues, but there are 3 of those blues that have a different shady individual behind it.
Mm-hmm.
So it can either be 3 of the same scenario,
mm-hmm.
or completely random.
Right.
It's 3. It's blue. It's one of these 3. I don't know how the DM built this deck.
Right. Exactly. So
there's a good chance that it's a great card.
It's like when you look at a chest, you go, "Is that a mimic?"
I just recently watched Delicious in Dungeon.
Oh, it's so funny.
Have you watched the newest episode?
Yeah, I believe I have, yeah.
Eric, do you care?
I have actually no clue what this is, so...
Okay. So I'll just briefly over it. Not so much describe the anime, I'll describe it to you later. But the rogue is like thinking every single thing is a mimic.
Yeah.
And it happens to be one of them is one, and all the other ones just weren't. And it just messes up with how he's trying to rogue.
And he goes, I hate mimics. And the one thing that he thinks is a mimic is not a mimic.
Yep.
That's
great.
Beautiful.
He was so mad about it too. And that's kind of what I want. Is like, you can look at these 3 guys and you're like, which one don't I flip or which one do I flip? And it would be fun to have a shady individual that flips and acts like an Aragon, where you flip it and it's like you now have an ally on your side of the field.
That's cool.
So the players now get help. And we can also make it too where if there's several scenarios they're going through, that ally may accompany through the next 1 or 2 or 3 scenarios for assistance. So you want to flip the shady individuals, but you don't want to flip the shady individuals.
It's Schrodinger's individuals.
Yes, exactly. I've got a box. Do I open it or not? Don't open it.
But I want to open it.
The rogue. I open the box! No!
The overzealous charlatan ranger opens the box.
So, I want it to be fun. I want it to have unexpected things that keep pulling players back. Like the shady individuals, like Joan says, that have a flip side. You know, the chefs that'll be fun to have a fun cooking event, that if you win the event, everybody gets a bump to their intellect, or, for the next fight, or maybe specialty cards if these are one-time events that we eventually start doing. Just really fun things that allow people to enjoy this overall. Just having a fun time. So.
Agreed.
How do you guys feel about the artwork and stuff that we've been able to get and do? And
I really like the artwork.
Me too.
I like that it's kind of different than Flesh and Blood. It shows that this is a PvE system that we're making and having a fun time with. I wanted it to feel a little bit more fun and laid back than kind of the serious side that everyone plays competitively in Flesh and Blood, wanting to win
And
all
that
of the...
will be something that will be a credit to you, because as I found with doing my custom magic events, when people there will still be some people who will be like, I'm not so sure about this. Like when I brought out the 20 Plague Rats, 20 Black Lotuses, and that's real magic decks, people were like, I'm not so sure how this is gonna go. But then everyone started playing them, and oh my goodness, they had a blast. So when you when you present it as because that's what I did, present it as like a fun, this is going to be different from what you usually see, but it's going to be a great time. That will draw people to it.
Yeah. One of the few things I like about this card is this is one of the few cards that I wanted to do a little bit of play on words in. Because I wanted to make it fun and welcoming to everybody, but I also wanted to have a little bit of, it's a tavern with women. And I wanted to name her the bar mistress or something along those lines, because it's her bar, which means all the barmaidens go in this deck, which means there's more barmaids' kisses in this deck. And just, making it so that it's like, we're going to literally just heal everybody infinitely and make you run out of cards.
So what
Nice.
you would do, just like what do they call them, cafes in Japan?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but continue.
Maid cafes.
Yep.
You would have food.
Yep.
That is played, but every once in a while you'll sneak in oh, special surprise, and the effect is not good.
So one of the fun things that may happen is her effect may say when she's on the field with other barmaids, they may play chef cards as if they were chefs, so that they can play all of the chef cards that give healing effects and bountiful feasts and all of those different things to just go, everyone's being healed, everyone's being healed, everyone's being healed, everyone's being
Including
healed.
my maids that you need to take out for some reason.
Yep. Oh, look, all of the barmaids were only at 7 health. Now they're at 24.
It very gives me a Sirens kind of feel.
Yeah. And like I said, I wanted it to be fun. And things. It to be having fun. Like this card right here, if the Sly Gambler plays it, we get to actually look at everyone's hands and then look at depending on how it's played, whether the gambler plays it or things, we get to rig their hands, take some cards out of their deck, and then set their hands up how we want them and put their hands back in their hands.
There is a lot wrong with this.
Yes, I know.
There are 3 aces of hearts.
Yeah, it's because it's the Sly Gambler's hand. He's cheating.
It's supposed to be cheating.
He's cheating.
Yeah.
It's meant to be cheating. He's a cheater.
Once per round during the hero's turn, Sly Gambler can force a hero to discard a random card.
I actually want this to change slightly, because there's a lot of forcing to discard of cards in this, because it's just easier to do that. I would love for this effect to change something which allows us to draw 4 cards and then rearrange their hand in any way that we want, or to rearrange our hand, putting 7 cards or whatever. For every hero on the field, you may put 1 card back into our deck and then draw 7 new cards, and then reshuffle those cards however we want, and then pick what we want and put it back to the bottom of the deck. Basically rigging our hands, in essence, which is what the gambler does. So
what would what's it called? It's called a con?
yeah.
So you would just play a con partner? And it
Well,
says, whenever a player discards a card, you may play that card instead on your next turn.
right. Well, there's also other things like specialty rules that we keep hinting at and everything else for everybody else. A specialty rule may say if a barmaid plays a barmaid kiss while Sly Gambler is on the field, all characters are distracted. Draw 4 cards, then pick 4 cards of your choice from your hand or from those 4 cards, and then put them back to the deck, which means we get to rig our hands again. Just specialty events like that are like, hey, look, a barmaid's on the field. I'm rigging my hand. Oh, look, your guys, the big old Guardian has pulverized and Arsenal is going to smack me. Yep, a barmaid hit the field. Cool, activating event. Putting this back down, drawing all of my defense reactions. Let's go, asshole. Just things like that would be really fun. Oh, man.
I love this.
So, this card here, called Flip the Table. Let me find it.
Yes.
This card, when it's played, it affects all Tavern Brawl members on the controller side of the field. Which means, when I play Flip the Table, all players on my side get blocked for 3. Whether they block or not. They block the next 3 damage that would come at them for that turn. So it's kind of one of those things of like, oh, you're attacking me? I have a table. Take the table. Which is why...
And the table's been flipped.
That's why it's called Flip the Table. It's like... Nope, no damage, please. So, and like I said, not all of these cards will go in every single deck. Some decks will have different cards so that not everybody realizes how the decks are beat. In essence, the way that Jones said it earlier, I don't know how this DM built this deck. I don't know what to watch out for. So, is this event where it's all barmaids, kits, and defense reactions? There's no attacks in the deck? Or... vice versa. And also in the
Here's kind of my thoughts on like deck building. I think it would be a lot more conducive to the deck builder.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just going back to having a separate character deck.
Mm-hmm.
On top of that, I think 20 cards is a little small.
No.
It'd be good for a fast game.
20, that's 20 heroes that you have to defeat. The deck size is actually 40 and doesn't have a limit. You cannot deck the PVE
It's
controller
minimum
out.
40.
So we get minimum 40 cards to put in our attack reactions or action cards or anything like that in our deck. The 20 cards that are our combat cards, those are our 20 technically our heroes that are on the field and will come out onto the field that have to be defeated for the event to be ended. We still have a 40-card deck of cards that nothing can go to the graveyard or banish zone. Everything at the end of the round is shuffled and put to the bottom of the deck. So we don't deck out. There's no way to deck out a controller. Why?
Yeah, I'm just saying if it was like 20, like you made it sound like earlier.
Oh, yeah.
You end up seeing the same cards so much faster.
I see what you're saying. So it may even be the fact that we may have to bump the cards, in your essence, you're not wrong, to 60 cards so that we don't see those cards as much. But also, all cards that are in the deck will get shuffled and put back in. So we can't, as a controller, be basically decked out. And the reason for that is when you're fighting in the environment, the creatures don't run out of crap. They just keep coming at you till they're dead. I mean, goblins, they just keep charging until they're dead or till they finally run away. And
or kobolds.
Yep. Kobolds are going to be mean if I build a kobold. Like, if I do a cave thing with kobolds literally will say, if take damage and don't die, they flee back into the deck. And a new one takes their place. And depending on the kobold, they'll leave a trap behind. So if they flee, they'll activate some type of a trap that's on the card, which that's another reason I don't know if I want abilities to be seen or not, which is something I talked about with Jones. So that abilities can't be seen by the players, so you don't, once again, the flip side, so you don't know what trap you're activating when you don't kill
If
that.
they're going to be abilities, it's going to have to be something of, we have to take this out, but when do we want to do that so then we can take care of what's going to be happening?
Correct.
It can't be just like abilities that help you out. You can't.
Right.
Just.
And that's why I said, I don't want all effects to just affect the players. I want some effects to affect the PvE controller too in some odd ways. Which is why I said that really I need playtesters more than what I have, and I need to go playtest on a mass scale, which I just haven't had time for, and finding people to do it in my area hasn't been the best. And I don't have, unfortunately, a lot of my friends live in Utah away from me that I can play with to be able to playtest this and get it actually off the ground and more efficiently. I do want to have all of the abilities somewhat put out on all the cards, and at least get the cards put up so that anybody can print off cards that they want to. And I'll probably will do two things. I'll put a link that anyone can go and fish the cards out, whether it be blank cards so they can write their own abilities, health, and everything else and try what they want, and then give us feedback, and also give all the cards with the abilities so they can print them out and cut them off and everything else. Does that sound good to both of you guys? Because I want to get them up by the end of the month. But like I said, one of the few things that I really do want is I want the community to get involved. I want the community to do their own cards, you know, maybe their own flip the table effect and see how it goes. And maybe we do.
Yeah,
maybe...
real quick. Eric, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Nope.
Okay. Just making sure. I didn't think we gave you enough time or path.
Oh, no, you're good.
Yeah, I definitely want to hear what you both have to say, though, because like I said, I want this to be built by everybody that's involved. I want everybody to enjoy what's going to happen here. And
Brock.
Huh?
I was just giving them names
as
you're flipping.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Brock,
Nate,
Maria.
what I'm thinking is maybe we could work with Mythos to do like a playtest day where we bring this to them and say, hey, we've got someone who's trying to make like a Flesh and Blood style expansion that's PVE. If any Flesh and Blood players in the community want to come join us, and then we can utilize the Mythos community, the Magic Madhouse of Mayhem community, and a few others to see if anyone who does play Flesh and Blood might be interested in pursuing this avenue.
Yeah, we can do that.
And we could potentially get a lot of playtesters for you, my friend.
I think they currently play on Tuesdays.
Okay.
Okay.
That's actually cool to know. Also, what I would want to do, if that's what you're going to do, is take some of these cards as blanks and give people like ideas for them to write effects on. And, you know, and I would even encourage them, have some effects be negative to the PvE player, which means if they die, then everybody else is affected. Or if, certain things happen. At least for this specific scenario, I want to get to the point where we also have cavern events, like someone can do, swarm of rats, and we can see how that would infect everything. Just different really fun stuff.
Okay.
So.
Plague carrier.
Yeah. Oh. Mm-hmm. You lose one intellect
Disease
permanently.
Oof.
Yeah, just different type of things. Like I said, I think it'd be really fun. I think that we'll have a blast. I love a lot of the artwork on the cards. I love what we've done so far thinking it through. I really want this to be very community driven, and I want the community to, impact how this game moves forward as a whole. Because I feel like if the community jumps in on it and we really get to build what the community wants, with how we've kind of set it up already, I think it'll launch its way, which is also why I want to start building one of the other decks so that people can understand how this system, the Tavern Brawl system, is slightly different than the upcoming systems. It's the base core things of you will have creatures that hit the battlefield, you will end that scenario, and then start the next scenario. And once again, like Jones was saying, I need to know how many scenarios there's going to be. The deck also has to be able to affect all scenarios so that we don't have to switch the deck out for each, forest scenario that you're being thrown at until you finish the full scenario. And then also, how many monsters is too many for a scenario for that type of system. This system is going to have a maximum of 5, is what I've found is what seems to be about right, because in a Tavern Brawl system, you start off fighting the same amount of people, and then eventually you're fighting more than what you can handle. Which is why I've bumped it to 5. So, and maybe it's every 2 rounds we add a new person. Like I said, I have to really get more playtesting in to figure out where.
You can kind of do it like Dawn.
Mm-hmm.
Or like, Dawn. Where you do have that separate deck of characters. And maybe on a lower scale of like, people are just trying it out, there's maybe 10. And then you bump it up to 15, and then you bump it up to 20 in that deck, and you build it however you want, but you keep it within those parameters. So If you want it to be a faster paced game, but you want it to be a little more medium scale, maybe you go 10 characters, but you go like the really strong ones, you know.
And that's something that could happen. Maybe you have a called a tavern brawl meetup where all the bartenders showed up to a tavern to chit chat about the town, and you just showed up on the wrong night.
Can't you tell, you buffoon? The sign says closed. We're having a meeting.
Exactly.
Yeah, but all the other bars are closed because you're having a meeting. I need my drink now.
And fight.
You can't be sober for one night?
Not if your name's Buhire.
He can't. He can't get drunk.
That's the problem.
It's a previous D&D character, my first one, and Chance so graciously let him have scale mail, specifically from a green dragon, which gave him
Poison immunity. And alcohol is considered poison once you drink enough of it. So it clears from your system.
so he could never get drunk.
So I literally gave an alcohol, and it was cursed, so he couldn't remove it. So I literally gave the alcoholic character a way to be sober without ever having to be sober. So.
Yeah, I just drink it for the taste. Bull crap. That stuff will screw up anybody. Yeah, but not me.
So. But I hope that you guys have, enjoyed what's the kind of feel here and how everything else is going, and I hope that you guys maybe can set something up like that. Give me a few ideas to finish off some of these other cards.
Yeah, I should be able to talk to the owners this week, and then I may have to skip out, have a guest come on one of these Tuesdays, and then I can go talk to the guy that runs the Flesh and Blood at the store.
Yeah, that would be really cool. Because like I said, also, I don't know what pitch to make, take cover. I don't know if I need to make it red, yellow, blue, how much block power it should have, things like that. This is where I'm kind of caught up on where to take it from this point. So.
All right, yeah.
You guys have any ideas? Let me know. It'd be helpful. Anybody in the chat or that is viewing this that has any ideas, drop a comment. Let us know what you guys think. I'd really appreciate everything. So, anything else from you guys, or any other thoughts or ideas or anything rattling around in those heads?
That reminds me of that meme. No wrinkles, just smooth. In terms of the brain.
Do you have any other ideas or anything that you thought maybe, but you haven't shared with us? You can go ahead and share it now.
Nothing on the top of my head or even the bottom of my head. I still just want to try to get to playtesting these so I can start breaking this game and figuring out how it could potentially be fixed, how it could be made better, or if this is the best iteration we've got.
Yeah, well, I think, and I've said it before, I'm thinking 2 separate decks, 60 card for one, and then the variety for the players for the other one. I think
I
would
like
be
that idea.
a good route, and then flip cards would be a lot of fun.
And that also leads us to another thing real fast, since you've mentioned that, is for this scenario, 60 cards plus the 10 to 20. But where does that take us for and this is my question because you mentioned that, where does that take us for the forest type of event, where the forest event has scenarios that pop up? So they roll the dice, or you roll the dice, or whatever. The first scenario pops up, it's 4 goblins. How many scenarios do we do to equal that? Is it, because you also have to think, the Tavern Brawl system has 5 characters always coming at you. So if we lower those characters, that means we have to up the power so they hang in there a little more. Different types.
I just don't want it to be too far up there.
I agree.
Like a group of maybe 3 players trying to take on 5 and only able to do like half of the health for 3 of them, and so you still have 5.
Well, and that's also why I made the bar intellects all take a hit, because you're drunk. So they're
Right.
not drawing a ton of cards. If you look back here, um, intellect 3, so he doesn't even get a full hand. Intellect 2, so the intellects for the bar events are sometimes taking.
But say you have multiple of these out. Do you take the highest or the lowest?
You take all intellects combined and draw that many cards. Now,
So you have 5 of them out.
so
If they're all at 1, you're drawing 5 cards.
correct. But that means you have to weather 3 attacks from the opponents all at once. And you can either keep all cards in hand and let everybody die and hope a new battlefield hits, and that battlefield is good enough for you to be able to dish out enough damage to then draw up a new hand of cards, or you have to block for them. So that's why I said, in essence, I need him to try to break it, because there's no other way to look at it to see if it's going to be problematic with a DM's potentially having, I don't know, 3. I think there's only 2 knights in a deck, so if you got everybody to land just right, I think you could have 3, 6, 9, 12, 17 cards in hand when you get attacked. Now those 17 cards, you still have to use each ability, each person. So all 3 players get to attack at the same time, which gives them a very good advantage if they play their hard hands right, which is another reason that this system is set up this way. They all get to attack in unison in whatever order they choose. So someone can go, I want to go first because he has this rounds on me. He plays this rounds on me. Now everyone else gets another card to play on their turn. So now they're up to 5 cards when they swing, etc., etc. So they get to go in any round. When anybody dies off our side of the field, a slot is immediately filled. After the person ends their turn, it's filled, and then it goes to the next person's turn. Someone dies, it's now filled at the end of their turn, so that they can't see what card's going to come out until it's that person's turn. So if someone defeats something at the end, a card hits the field and they go, crap, we didn't want that to come out. So sometimes you may want to leave what's on the battlefield and just tick it down to almost dead so that you can try to force a bunch of stuff off. You know, Benji goes stabby, 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 stabby and clears the whole line and ends his turn.
Yeah.
And
here's the other idea, and it comes from the board game Hogwarts, the Harry Potter board game.
Right.
It's like you have multiple Death Eaters that you have to take care of, and what you do is every time a Death Eater is taken care of, or say a character is, you shuffle and flip the card off the top to replace that character.
Right. And that's basically, in essence, what you're going to be doing, because when you shuffle all of the heroes together, you don't know what's going to happen. The heroes, once they die, are removed from the game. So once a PVE controller person dies, it's removed off the game. It doesn't go back to the deck. The only thing that stays in the deck are our attack, action, and defense cards. Those never empty. That always stays at 60 cards.
I would lower their toughness.
The knight has one of the highest toughness.
I mean, I'd still lower that one.
I mean,
like 8 and 4 makes sense.
I raised them because I was able to kill them too fast. Like, it was just like most people are hitting for a base of 4 to 5, which means
right.
And most people in Flesh and Blood have multiple attacks that they can do. Not everybody, but most of them. Which means each person
but you have like, there's discarding stuff. You have other stuff going on, like maybe you won't even draw the cards that you need to be able to do even 10 damage to this guy.
Right, and that's why I said, and as
3 to 5, 3 versus 5. I don't know.
No, I completely agree with you, and that's why I said I need more playtesters, because I originally started with the health much lower, and I was like, well, I did 20 people and I won. I was sitting there thinking about it, and I'm like, yeah, Dorinthia cleared the entire battlefield on her first turn because I have a Dorinthia deck, and she does enough damage to go, everything's dead, now move on. And I'm like, okay, well, she just cleared the battlefield, so I refilled it. And then, my next person cleared half the battlefield. And I'm like, well, there goes half the 10 cards right there.
Yeah.
Right off the gate. So that's what I'm saying. It really needs to have some play testing on a little bit more scale, figuring out whether you're right, if the numbers are too much, if the discard is too much. So you've been awful quiet over there. You got anything, or you?
That I learn with this kind of thing is by doing and seeing how the interactions work with the player decks, and seeing what it is we can do to make it more fun, make it less broken. Just trying to I'm taking as much of it in as I can, but there's going to be a lot that I will be able to gain and a lot of insight into how all of these systems work once I actually start playtesting it. So
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And I
I
completely
say
agree.
we try to get as many of these cards done, get a singular deck kind of built the way that you want it, Chance.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we do go and play test it, say in a month, we can give the players like paper and be like, hey, just jot down any notes that you may have, any ideas, whether it was easy or too difficult.
Too much
what are your
discard,
thoughts?
not enough. Yeah.
Yeah. What characters you liked? What would you like to see more of? Which characters you think should have more toughness or less toughness? Just anything that you can give us while we get this off the ground. Try to get it started. I'm sure this isn't something that James White might take a hold of and want to copy, but we're hoping that we get a good enough system going that maybe they get their butts into gear or they just rely on our system.
Yeah, either way would be a lot of fun. So,
yeah.
Oh, look at your titty.
yeah.
Oh, let's go.
Giddy.
Up. No? Okay. Be that way. Willow. Willow. Nope. They're all. It's about dinner time for them. That's why they're being annoying. So, but I think we can call it there. Like I said, I think this will be a lot of fun once we get everything set up and off the ground more. But I agree. I need to get some of the cards finished. I need to at least let you guys print off decks, and then maybe build your own decks. Like Jones can build his own specific type of deck. You can build your own specific type of deck. Maybe you both can DM two different decks if you have enough players one night. Like 3 over here, and you guys can kind of roll through it.
Yeah.
And see what you guys like or don't like about the system, and then see how people do it. Like once you guys finish up, you can swap people and be like, I like that deck better because it made me feel like I was able to accomplish more. Kind of that's what Jones was saying and everything else. So
Cool.
and then hopefully I can get a deck built too and do some playtesting over here. So
Yes.
but
What's going to be fun is seeing some of the drunken people either in the woods because they stumbled out there. And that's just how the DM decided to build his deck.
the drunken hermit.
Yeah.
You can make a
The
specific.
drunken farmer, he got lost on his way home.
Yeah, you could do that.
Yeah.
So it'd be a lot of fun. You could also have some chefs, be at the bandit camp, which would be fun too. So, anyways,
yeah.
I think we'll end it there. I hope you guys had fun tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed the cards, enjoyed looking at it. Like I said, I'll try to get some more of it kind of finished and out. It's 30 cards that I've been doing by myself for the most part, trying to get everything finished. It's not been the easiest time. So,
I get that. No worries, my friend.
but it has been a fun time. And then I'm trying to get the forest event started next so I can have something similar to go off of that. I think I'll probably do that for my deck, is do the forest deck. So,
All right.
thanks, guys, for coming and chit-chatting. I hope everybody enjoys this and had a good time. But I guess we will catch you next time, everybody.
Yes.
All right.